They'll call it chance. They'll say you just caught a wave, or that you arrived with gifts that simply were not theirs. But what they'll never notice are the midnights you spent alone wrestling wars within your own mind. They won't catch the dawn hours where you rose empty-handed, armored only with a vision and a vow never to surrender. They'll skip past the quiet seconds when you could have fractured and chose not to see. Inner strength isn't a lottery win. It isn't donated, and it isn't inherited. It's built deliberately, patiently, in silence. It's tempered through discipline, molded in solitude, tempted in shadow clarity. Fortitude and peace aren't collected by luck. You magnetize them by becoming the person they naturally gravitate toward. And once your mind is forged, truly forged, the world responds, not by miracle, but because your radiance has shifted. If that strikes a chord inside you, I'll ask only one simple favor. Press subscribe and let's begin. Power isn't a finish line. It's a hidden rhythm. You tune into a subtle frequency, most missed, but the moment you sense it, you can never unhear it. Inner force doesn't burst forth. It stacks gradually, layer after layer, repetition upon repetition, discipline on top of discipline. Clarity that refuses to fade when discomfort knocks picture, tuning a grand piano, not for beauty, but for absolute pitch. So every strike, every motion sounds with intention. You sculpt your mind exactly the same. A continual fine-tuning, no dramatic fanfare, only steady hands crafting what no one else can see. The shifts are invisible first. The crowd won't notice those early sunrises, the inner corrections, the micro decisions you make to keep command, yet they compound. And one morning, the results roar louder than any explanation to hold power and keep it grounded. Start with this. Your mind is not your foe, but it is untamed, fierce, brilliant, capable of building or breaking if left alone. It drifts to comfort, distraction, and fear. But when trained, it sharpens, guards, and guides. Jung warned, until the unconscious is exposed, it steers your life, and you label it destiny. Most never see it, living out invisible scripts, authored by untamed thoughts. Thus, the first step each day is inward, before noise, before opinion. Before you step into somebody else's, hurry, you greet yourself. Calmly, directly, you set the energy that walks into the day. Not what the world wants, but what alignment demands. No hunt for motivation, no chase for inspiration. You advance by choice, build because it's your nature. This isn't reaction, it's design. It isn't pretending things are perfect, nor forcing fake smiles or chanting empty lines. It's precision, focus, alignment, like Stoic timber. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for tranquility to arrive. He practiced virtue amid chaos. Inner strength doesn't beg for smoother roads. It declares identity, even while the ground crumbles. You don't plead for respect. You stop waiting for signs, for choice, for permission. You become someone the world cannot overlook, not by shouting, but because your silence has gravity. Such gravity begins with one thing most skip: identity. Plato said, the first and greatest victory is the triumph over self. Every belief either sharpens or dulls. Edge identity isn't discovered, it's built. Clearly, intentionally, day by day, thought by thought, habit by habit. Are you just surviving, or are you here to create? The gap is massive. Survival waits. Creation decides. Most never pause to read the script. Their starring in their lines were written by fear, culture, or some old limitation. And they wonder why nothing changes. You aren't here to follow. You're here to rewrite you. Grip the pen, not with fantasy, but with edits. Remove the noise, cut. Self-pity like toxin plant thoughts that build not betray your mindset turns to architecture, sturdy enough to stand when pressure strikes, and it will Aristotle reminds us, nothing happens without courage. Courage anchors you when life tries to unroot you. It points you while fear screams. People will doubt. Smiling your own thoughts will pull back. Distractions will arrive disguised as good offers. Urgent fires, easy exits. A trained mind sees the trap stays grounded, adapts, learns and whetstones its edge. So ask yourself, what nourishes your mind when no one watches? Silence or static? Depth or drift? Do you let comparison take root, making you feel behind? Or do you plant thoughts that steady and define you when the world forgets? Jung said, "Who looks outward dreams, who looks inward awakes." Many sleep with eyes open, chase timelines, opinions, trends none built for you. They're built to drown you. If your dial stays on others, you'll drift, and drift is dangerous. You're not here to consume someone else's saga. You're here to author your own that starts with what you allow, and not every voice deserves space. Not every comment merits energy. Not every trend is your North Star. Real clarity filters real focus, chooses, decides what stays, and what's cut at the root power begins there. Not under spotlight, but in the quiet. When only you and your thoughts remain, that moment is the test when scrolling is easy, but stillness is chosen. When complaint tempts, but correction wins. This work looks minor, yet it's everything. The mind is soil far more fertile than most. Know every thought, a seed emotions, the water. The mind doesn't ask whether the seed serves you. It grows whatever's planted. That's why patterns form. Unintentionally, consistency makes them real. What you do often becomes who you are once aware. You can shift all plant on purpose feed. Clarity over chaos, strength over strain, direction over distraction, vision over noise. Ask, are you reinforcing discipline or hesitation? Building a leader's mind or a reactor's habits? The gap between life lived and life possible is filled not by one grand move, but by micro moments. It's staying calm when instinct screams, giving energy to what matters not, what's loudest rising. Early tuning into intention before the world piles on weight. Reminding yourself, this mind is mine. I don't drift, I decide that, not talent or luck, splits the locked in from the lost, just small, consistent alignment with who you're becoming and what is real decision. Not picking between A or B, but a full body, no return declaration, drawing a line. The old self doesn't cross, Aristotle taught. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Standards, patterns that match purpose, because remaining the same became unthinkable. What's left? Stillness, strength, simplicity. The trained mind doesn't spiral after every emotion or argue with every impulse. It moves, calm, intentional. It knows the task. Does the task not rashly, not rushed, deliberately condescension by consistency, not mood motivation, isn't a requirement. Motion sparks momentum. Readiness appears after beginning real power. Is discipline kicking? And when comfort is gone, you act from identity, not impulse. Socrates said, change comes by focusing energy on building the new, not fighting the old. You're constructing future, one habit, one choice, one quiet shift at a time. This separates dabblers and dominators. Dabblers wait, depend on hype. Dominators build in silence, they move, trusting what they've trained. Purpose drives the engine, and eventually the world bends. Not because you forced it, but because it cannot ignore who you've become. Most get it backwards. They hope outside shifts. First then they'll focus, believe, begin life. Answers not to wishes, but to standards. Jung reminds, until the unconscious is made conscious, it directs you, and you call it fate. If standards stay low, the script stays unchanged. So inspect your standards. Are you hosting thoughts that aren't yours? Clinging to inherited limits? Speaking like you're on hold? Cut that root, not question it. Refuse it. Stop speaking as one who hasn't started speak from power. Even softly shift the system, declare, I'm already moving. Don't talk like a survivor. Speak like a builder. Don't think like a critic. Think like an architect who sees structure in an empty lot, who sees the finish before the first brick. The shift begins with repetition, not hype. Relentless practice, what you rehearse. If you remember what you remember, you enact new version comes by design, not accident. Choose thoughts that serve act until they hardwire. This isn't a hack, it's neuroscience. Each chosen thought, each aligned act cuts a new path over time. That path turns instinct identity, installs. Future is built, one groove at a time. So echo power, not only when it's easy, but always. Thought by thought, action by action. Let energy whisper, I know who I am. I know what I'm constructing. Most echo doubt. Rehearse fear. Speak resignation, unquestioned, but not you. You felt the deeper pull. You examine what others ignore. Build where others pause. You don't wait to be chosen. You lay your own road to do so. Quit reacting like a follower. Quit letting the world dictate. Pace that power is yours. Claim it, not with noise, but with presence. A grounded, unshakable presence that doesn't request approval. Think like a force. Move like a decision. Speak as one who no longer bargains with weakness. And no, it isn't confidence. First, confidence is a byproduct. Inner power doesn't announce itself. It isn't about volume or veneer. It springs from clarity. Steady, focused, immovable clarity is earned through commitment to the voice inside, older than the world's noise. Remember the vision, not the shareable clip, but the scribble in a notebook. The whisper when lights were out. The one that scared you. Too big, too real, too different from what others expected. It's still alive, waiting for less excuse, more action. Reclaim it. Reclaim your dawns. Those unspoken minutes before floodgates of demand. Open, that's where. Edge sharpens, where stillness sets course. No notifications, no clutter, just you. Honest, undiluted identity. Reseated priorities, remembered before the day tries to rewrite them. Reclaim focus in a world starved for attention. Guard it like treasure. Train it. Strengthen it, lock it on what matters. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is habit. Focus is habit, now intention. Your ground floor, your true edge. The ability to stay with yourself longer than the world can distract, to be still, while others chase speed your depth. Your calm, that's armor, so when it hurts, don't withdraw. Discomfort isn't a problem, it's a signal. The precise moment where transformation sparks your past self would turn back. You press forward. Growth never feels soft. It feels like friction. The edge of who you were grinding against who you're becoming. Jung noted, no coming to consciousness without pain. Pressure costs, but pressure builds. The strongest minds, sharpest awareness, deepest clarity. So don't curse the storm. Integrate it. Let loss teach wisdom. Setbacks build patience. Tension, refine your edge. A trained mind turns all to fuel suffering, waits for rescue. Power walks through fire and continues. This isn't power that shouts or seeks to dominate. True power stands. Centered, quiet presence over performance. Enter a room with it, and silence speaks for you. Socrates said, live with honor by being what we pretend to be. Power like this isn't on loan, it's self-made. It doesn't chase praise or ask permission. It simply is, because it's real. This you isn't birthright or chance, it's blueprint, realized day upon day, quiet focus. You stopped posing as strong and trained to be every thought, a brick every habit, the mortar every emotion, fuel for the fire. The process? Unseen, unflashy, unstoppable, self-talk forms. Structure habits become armor. When weakness knocks, there's no debate. Only standard excellence is not a peak. It's the drumbeat beneath your steps Aristotle knew. We are habit, incarnate. You were not built to scrape, by you're built to command direction, to give from abundance, to raise bars. Not because the world owes, but because you've earned the leader's identity, and you lead without ego, with groundedness. The training never ends. Daily, deliberate, endless, repetition becomes transformation. A conditioned mind changes everything. Patterns shift, decisions, cleans words, gain weight life mirrors. Back who you have become. Power doesn't coerce the world, it compels it. The world shifts not when you wish, but when you change. At thought, belief, identity. Train the mind and the rest arranges if this struck something true. A new video waiting on screen dives even deeper. Thank you for standing inside the Stoic Journal. A haven for the thinkers, the steady movers, the quiet builders. I'll see you there. Same clarity, same purpose. Stay steady.